Welcome students, welcome to the next session of structural analysis 2. So in the previous classes we have started our analysis using Candice method for the indeterminate structures such as continuous beams which are having a completely different types of ends such as fixed end or a hinged end at the ends of the beam, right? So in today's class we are going into a new topic in the Candice method when any of the support is getting settled, okay? Not only the load variation, not only the type of support variation. Now I am thinking about settlement of the support, how it is appearing, how the process of Candice method will complete for calculating the support moment and also the sinking, how the sinking is affecting the support moments. So members with relative lateral displacement. So when I am considering this is the length of the member, the corresponding members direction in this way. So the lateral or any other direction. So members perpendicular direction we call it as lateral. This way when you observe sinking in this way, so there is a lateral displacement. This is longitudinal. So perpendicular to that is a lateral. So in the lateral direction when it is any displacement, okay, for such type of members. Consider a beam AB whose ends have undergone lateral displacement so that the entire relative displacement between the ends is equal to delta. Okay, the fixed end moments due to this condition of the beam is equal to. So, when we are seeing anything, we are having a beam AB and it is having one of its ends having some lateral displacement. Okay. Now, between these ends, if and A is at this level and B is at this level, now with respect to one support, what is the level of another support? Okay, relative displacement that only compared to one, what is the level of the second support? Okay, not with any other benchmark. Compared to one support, what is the level of the next support? What is the displacement of the next support? That is relative displacement. Okay, here one comparison is there. Compared to support A, support B is at delta displacement down. Okay, now the fixed end moments due to such type of condition. So we have already generated a fixed beam with a sinking support. There we have calculated what are the fixed end moments generated due to a sinking of delta when the right side B is sinking. So at this condition we have observed there is a generation of a fixed end moment 6 EI delta by L square, and here due to this condition I have observed 6 EI delta by L square. Okay, so in this way when you see this arrow is also going in the anti-clockwise direction. So two anti-clockwise means when the right support is sinking down compared to left support, when the right support is sinking down by delta, then the corresponding fixed end moments generated in the beam only due to sinking. Okay, now the fixed end moments due to this sinking condition are, we are indicating as MFAB for the fixed end moments. Okay, fixed end moment at A towards B due to the given loading condition. Next, fixed end moment at B towards A. This is the next condition. Okay, so these two will indicating for the fixed end moments. But here there is an end moment, but that end moment has generated due to delta sinking. That's why we have some more new identification, that is M double dash. Okay, M double dash AB, M double dash BA. Because M dash AB we will use for the rotation contributions, right? So here I am using double dash for involving the settlement contribution. Okay, now M double dash AB or M double dash BA is equal to 6 EI delta by L square. So here I am indicating only the quantity. Why you have not mentioned the sign? Because based on the sinking I can write, because once this is the standard case I know what is the sinking. Maybe if this is not the thing here happening. So if the support A is sinking by delta. Okay. Due to this condition, this quantity will be generated and also this quantity will be generated. Okay. So, when the sinking was on the right side, the quantities will be same. 6A delta by L square for both the supports. For here also 6A delta by L square. But when the right side support is settling, it is causing anti-clockwise movements. When the left side support is settling, it is causing clockwise movements. Okay. Why I particularly mention it? Because in our Canis method, clockwise movements, anti-clockwise movements are very important to give the signs. Okay. So here that's why they have not mentioned plus or minus. Based on the delta condition, the output will come. Here this quantities and here in this way 6A delta by L square answers will come. Same 6A delta by L square, okay, but the difference is the direction how the movement is getting generated. Next thing, where capital I is moment of inertia of the beam section and L is span of the particular beam member AB and then capital E is Young's modulus of the middle. All the things we know. E, Young's modulus, I, moment of inertia, delta, just now only we have said that is the relative displacement between the two supports and L is the length. So this is a known quantity for the given settlement. Once if they said this is the sinking of the particular support, I can easily calculate this M double dash AB and M double dash BA because I know the formula 6EI delta divided by L square. Young's modulus, moment of inertia, delta and length of the particular member. Okay. So using these values you can calculate this and you can go into the Canis method. So when such displacement occurs for a member of the frame for the final movement. Okay. So when I am considering the final movement, what is the original formula we are having? MAB is equal to MFAB plus 2 times M dash AB plus 1 time M dash BA. But when the sinking is also added there, what is the final output for the frame movement? So MAB is equal to MFAB to M dash AB 1 times M dash BA and also M double dash AB. Only this new term is getting added. For here also the same thing. So MBA is equal to MFBA plus M dash AB plus 2 times M dash BA plus M double dash BA. Okay. The quantity M double dash AB is equal to M double dash BA and is called as displacement contribution. M dash AB, M dash BA, those were rotation contributions. M double dash AB, M double dash BA are displacement contributions. Okay. So these two terms needed to be added when we are giving the final output. Okay. Now the expression for the final movement at the near end of the beam member can be expressed as the algebraic sum of fixed end moment at the near end when I am calculating this. Okay, the expression for the final moment at the near end of a member can be expressed as algebraic sum of fixed end moment at the near end plus 2 times the rotation contribution at the near end twice the rotation contribution of the near end plus 1 time the rotation contribution of the far end plus displacement contribution. Displacement contribution has 2 dashes. Rotation contributions, 1 displacement contribution. So the displacement contribution. Okay. In this way, the whole formula will be completed. Next, so the analysis method, the same thing only, but it is having that part. Okay, M dash AB. So the rotation contribution formula is involving. Initially, what it is involving? Summation of the fixed moments at the joints and sum of the far end rotation contributions. That sum needed to be multiplied with rotation factor, and that will give the near end rotation contribution. Here, what is the new thing happening? Here, I am adding this part. So, sum of the fixed end moments, sum of the rotation contribution of the far end, and sum of the displacement contributions. Okay. So, displacement contribution at the near end. Okay. And UAB is the rotation factor at the joint A for the member AB. Okay. At A towards B. From such equations, For each rotation contribution, the rotation contributions can be determined by the iterative process followed as earlier. So there is no change, even the sinking happened. Only thing is we need to calculate the corresponding displacement contribution. Again we should have to follow the same terms. Okay. Now if the lateral displacement delta is a known quantity, the displacement contribution is also a known quantity. Yes, because it is involving 6EI delta by L square. If delta, what is the lateral displacement? If you know this quantity, the remaining quantities will be automatically given in the problem, and the whole quantity of the displacement contribution is also an known quantity, right? So, this displacement contribution is also a known quantity for you. Hence, at each end of the member, the resultant fixed end moment can be computed. For instance, for a span AB, the resultant fixed end moment is equal to MFAB plus M double dash AB. So, without waiting for the rotation contributions, in the starting, when I am calculating the fixed end moments, at the time itself, I am adding the displacement contribution, that is the fixed end moment generated due to sinking. Fixed end moment generated due to sinking, that quantity I am adding here itself. Okay. Similarly, the resultant fixed end moment at the end B is equal to MFBA plus M double dash BA. So, overall resultant fixed end moment at B towards A, at A towards B. So, here itself you can add these two things and you can go for the rotation contribution calculation. So that we are going into a problem where they have given the sinking condition. Every step, every iterative process is the same. Starting the support moments finalization was different. Okay. So the support moment finalization needed to be designed. Now determine the support moments A, B, C, D for the continuous girder shown in the figure. Okay. So we are having a continuous beam which is being shown in the figure, and the support B is sinking by 2.5 mm. Okay. So here I am having the continuous beam and having the support B is sinking by 2.5 mm. For all the members, I is equal to 3.5 into 10 power of 7 mm power 4 and capital E, Young's modulus is equal to 200 kN per mm square. Okay. So the support point B is sinking. All the remaining things are as it is. Okay. So only the support B is sinking by 2.5 mm. So what happens due to the sinking? Just now only said, due to the sinking, displacement contribution will come back to the fixed moments. So the original fixed moments are as it is. So for analyzing any continuous beam using the Canis method, firstly we should have to calculate the fixed end moments of each span, considering them as a fixed beam individually. So our first step is calculation of the fixed end moments, considering each span of the continuous girder as a fixed beam. Okay, so the resultant fixed end moment, and also at this same time I am involving the fixed end moments resultant output also. Okay, for the span AB. So if it is only involvement of fixity, it is having a UDL of intensity 40 and length 3. So delta is happening. Okay. So that sinking quantity is delta. Now the resultant fixed moment, only due to this UDL over entire length, the corresponding fixed moments are WL square by 12 and WL square by 12. Here also WL square by 12. But here, due to this condition, it is having a moment like 6 EI delta by L square, and here it is having a moment like this way, 6 EI delta by L square. Okay, 6 EI delta by L square. Now, firstly, at A, the resultant fixed moment at A is equal to, here it is going in the anti-clockwise direction, that's why minus WL square by 12. And also at this level, here also it is going in the anti-clockwise direction, minus 6 EI delta by L square. So, minus WL square by 12 minus 6 EI delta by L square. Minus W, how much we have got? That is minus 40 into 3 square divided by 12 minus 6. And in the problem they have given Young's modulus, E 200 kilonewton per mm square. And moment of inertia I as 3.5 into 10 power 7 mm power 4. As our units were in kilonewtons and meters, right? So this is in kilonewton per meter and that was in meter. So here also I am keeping it in meters only, 200 kilonewton by 10 power of minus 3 whole square meter square. So 2 into 10 power of 8 kilonewton per meter square as E, and here 10 power of 7, that's why 10 power of minus 3 whole power of 4 meter power 4 into 10 power of 7, which is equal to 3.5 into, and this 3.5 into 10 power of minus 12 and 7, 10 power of minus 5 meter power 4, which is capital I. Okay, so from this I have got the Young's modulus answer, and from this we have got the moment of inertia answer. Okay, so the Young's modulus is converted into kilonewton per meter square and moment of inertia is converted into meter per 4. Okay, now we will substitute all these things. E 2 into 10 power of 8 and I 3.5 into 10 power of minus 4. And delta, see here the quantity of the delta or the sinking they have given as 2.5 mm. So delta is in 2.5 mm. So into 10 power of minus 3, it will give 2.5 into 10 power of minus 3 meters. And that also we are substituting 2.5 into 10 power of minus 3 meters divided by length of the particular beam is 3 meters square. Okay, so WL square by 12 minus 6 EI delta by L square, keeping everything in kilonewtons and meters, and then we have got the final output as minus 30 minus 11.67, and the final output is 61.67 kilonewton meter as the resultant fixed end moment, because it is involving fixed moment due to the loading. It is involving the corresponding fixed moment generated due to sinking action. Okay, so these two things are happening. Again, for the resultant fixed end moment at B towards A. So at B towards A, it is going in the clockwise direction. That's why plus WL square by 12. And then at B towards A, it is going in the anti-clockwise direction. That is minus WL square by, sorry, minus 6 EI delta by L square. So see here, why it is plus, why it is minus. Here both were minus because this is anti-clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. So both minus. Here this one is clockwise, but this one is still anti-clockwise because of the sinking condition, right? So the same terms minus, which is, sorry, plus 40 into 3 square by 12 minus 6, 2 into 10 power of 8, 3.5 into 10 power of minus 4, 2.5 into 10 power of minus 3 by 3 square, W is 68 delta by L square. So plus 30 minus 7.67, that is 18.33. Okay, In this way, the resultant fixed moment at A towards B, the resultant fixed moment at B towards A. These two values we have calculated. Then, after calculating the fixed moments, what is our step? Before entering into the Cannies method, we should have to calculate rotation factors and some of the fixed moments at the joints also. Okay. So, the next step is calculation of the rotation factors. Okay. Here I am having span B also. I have not done for the all spans. Only span AB we have completed. Span BC and span CD are also there. Sorry. And for the span BC, if it is a fixed beam carrying a point load of 100 kN over 2 meter at the center, right? So, due to this center point load, the corresponding fixed moments generated are WL by 8 and WL by 8. So, this is WL divided by 8. But here what is happening? Here the support B is sinking. So, the beam is and you can observe the corresponding sinking and here the corresponding resistance. So, 6 EI delta by L square, 6 EI delta by L square. Here also WL by 8. This is not UDL, right? WL by 8 due to the point load. So, those two summation in algebraic will give the final or the resultant fixed moment. Okay. So, the resultant fixed moment at B is equal to MB towards C span, which is equal to, as it is going in the anti-clockwise direction, that's why minus WL by 8, and also here it is going in the clockwise direction, plus 6 EI delta by L square, minus WL by 8 plus 6 EI delta by L square, as it is the substitution of minus 100 into L value, as the length is 2 meters and it is 8, and in the previous step itself we have calculated 6 EI delta by L square, that I have got as, and sorry, here the change is L. Both all 6 EI and delta are same, but L is different. Here the length of the particular beam member is 2 meters, there the particular length of the beam member is, we have got as 3 meters. Okay, so the corresponding outputs we should have to substitute as 2 square, 6, Young's modulus, moment of inertia and delta. So, after the substitution, the first part I have got as minus 25 and the second part, the displacement contribution we have got it as 26.25. Summation of these two has got plus 1.25. And the next thing, the resultant fixed moment at C towards B. The resultant fixed moment at C towards B. See here, at C towards B, it is a clockwise, that's why WL by 8. And then at C towards B, this is also a clockwise, that's why plus 6EI delta by L square. So, the plus WL by 8 plus 6EI delta by L square. Summation of these two plus WL by 8, just now only we have got 100 into 2 divided by 8, which is a 25, and plus 6EI delta divided by L square. So, the final output is same like the top. Not from the previous. In the particular span, 6EI delta by L square, answer will be same. The corresponding sign conventions you should have to follow based on the cycle. Okay. So, in this way, we have got the fixed moment for the span BC. The next thing is the corresponding fixed moment in the span CD. So, in the CD span, what we have observed, it is of a 3 meter length and carrying a UDL of 50 kN per meter. Sinking? No, because only the support B is sinking. So, the support B has involved A, the support B has involved C. So there only the resultant fixed moment and the displacement contributions will come, not for all the terms. Okay. So MFCD is equal to minus WL square by 12 and plus WL square by 12 because it is in the anti-clockwise. This one is in the clockwise. Right? So minus 50 into 3 square by 12 plus 50 into 3 square by 12. So minus 50 into 3 square by 12 plus 50 into 3 square by 12, and in the final output we have got as minus 37.5 kN plus 37.5 kN. So in this way, for each and every span, considering each span as a fixed beam, we have calculated the fixed limits, but also due to the sinking effect, some displacement contribution has came for the two spans because the B has first span and the second span. That's why the displacement contributions has been given to the first two spans, and the corresponding outputs have generated like 6A delta by L square condition. Okay, and the corresponding arrows we have observed and we calculated the terms. The next thing, so the calculation of the rotation factors. So in case of the rotation factors, what we have observed, as it is a continuous beam, it is being a continuous beam. So it is having and one end as A, other end as D, but also in between I am having joint B and joint C. So these two joints are there. That's why for these two joints there is some rotation factor. So this B should give something to this, B should give something to this C joint. Similarly from C towards B, from C towards D. So those factors I am calculating now. Simply our first column, the joint. What are the joints I need to observe? The joint B and joint C. What are the members that are being connected from B? From B, BA, BC. From C, CB, CD. So the next column is for the members. And then what is the next column? Relative stiffness of the particular member. So what is the formula for the relative stiffness? It is I by L when the farther end is fixed or it is the intermediate support. Okay. So from B towards A when the farther end is being fixed. So our condition is okay. So due to this condition I should have to write I BA by L BA. So moment of inertia of the BA section by length of that particular BA section, because the farther end from B towards A is the farther end and the farther end is being fixed. That's why I by length of the particular member, that is I by 3. Just only we have got AB member has 3 meters length. Next thing, from B towards C. C is an intermediate support. Even though it is hinged, it is an intermediate support. So from B towards C, again I by L. Again the moment of inertia of the particular member and length of the BC member, that is 2 meters. So I by 3 and I by L are the relative stiffness for the member BA, for the member BC. And then for the next joint CB and CD, just now only we have said from C towards B, being B as an intermediate hinge. That's why no problem, simply I by L, I by length of the member 2 meters. And from C towards D, as D is also a fixed member, so again moment of inertia by length of the particular member. So in this way only relative stiffness calculation was over. Okay. So the relative stiffness for the member BA, BC, CB and CD we have done. Next, the total relative stiffness at the joint. So summation of the relative stiffness at the two members in the combination we have got 5I by 6, and sum of these two answers I have got as 5I by 6. Again summing up these two answers because these two are getting connected at the joint which is C. Similarly these two joints are getting, members are joined at B. Now again the calculation of the rotation factor. In case of distribution factor, simply particular member relative stiffness by total relative stiffness. But here in rotation factor, minus 1 by 2 into relative stiffness of the particular member by total relative stiffness. So minus 1 by 2 into KAB by sigma KAB. Okay, so minus 1 by 2 into I by 3 divided by 5I by 6. So here this next output came, how it has came? Minus 1 by 2 into I by 3 divided by 5I by 6. So this ratio has given me the rotation factor for the member B towards A. Similarly for the next step, again I by 2 divided by 5I by 6. This ratio needed to be multiplied with minus 1 by 2. And for the next members CB and CD, ratio of the relative stiffness and the total relative stiffness and multiplied with minus 1 by 2 and then I by 3 and 5I by 6. Again the multiplication with minus 1 by 2. So like the distribution factor, there is no cross check for the rotation factors, but only we will simply observe what are the values, whether they are okay or not. Okay. In the next step, we are going for the calculation of the summation of the fixed end moments at the joint, and then we will go into the iteration process in the next class. Thank you.